Yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
I rise in strong support of H.R. 2830, the Coastguard Authorization Act. It includes critical provisions to strengthen the U.S. Coast Guard. It's been since 2004 the last time we actually moved through House and Senate and Conference a Coast Guard authorization bill, not for lack of effort. In the 109th Congress in 2005 and 2006, the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure under then Chairman Don Young, a strong advocate, admirer of, one who embraces the U.S. Coast Guard. We moved the bill through committee and we brought it to the House on 2006. Unfortunately, we were not able to reach conference with the other body, but not for lack of effort. And so that bipartisan initiative was rekindled last year as the committee picked up the pieces and incorporated the work of previous Congress and moved forward with a very expansive Coast Guard authorization bill. In this bill, we extend, we first of all increase personnel for the U.S. Coast Guard. In my first year in Congress, 1975, I served on the Coast Guard subcommittee and subsequently all through to 1995, when the Merchant Marine Fisheries Committee, which included Coast Guard, was dissolved and the responsibilities of Coast Guard transferred over to the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, where I continued to work on Coast Guard issues. From 1975, Coast Guard personnel authorization was at 39,000. We added 27 new functions, new responsibilities, various Congresses, various presidents over the years without increasing substantially Coast Guard personnel. We do that in this legislation. We add 1,500 military personnel. We increase the total strength of the Coast Guard to 47,000 to adequately serve the needs of the clear dual responsibilities of the Coast Guard: safety, which is search and rescue and buoy tending and navigation aids and so on, and the security responsibilities of the Coast Guard in the era of homeland security. There will be no argument, how shall I say, excuse in the future that the Coast Guard doesn't have sufficient personnel so that they have to be a multi-mission agency. We're going to assure that they have adequate personnel through this authorization and subsequent funding of it to carry out all their several responsibilities. We extend benefits to Coast Guard personnel, reimbursement of medical related travel for members assigned to remote locations. We grant access to Armed Forces Retirement Home System to the Coast Guard veterans. We allow Coast Guard in this legislation provide authorization for Coast Guard personnel who work in support of a declaration of a major disaster or emergency issued by the President to retain up to a total of 90 days accrued leave, compared to only 60 days currently. We implement the administration's proposal initiated by the Coast Guard to reorganize the Coast Guard. We eliminate, as they propose in their plan, in this legislation, provide authorization to eliminate 2 area commands established by law and the Coast Guard Chief of Staff position, and replace those with 4 Vice Admirals: Deputy Commandant for Mission Support, Deputy Commandant for National Operations and Policy, the Commander, Force Readiness Command, and the Commander for the Operations Command, and we promote in this legislation the Vice Commandant to full Admiral. The legislation strengthens substantially fishing vessel safety, most dangerous occupation in the United States, improving the training, construction, and enforcement standards for commercial fishing vessels. Double hull around fuel bunker tanks on new construction U.S. vessels. Any vessel carrying more than 600 cubic meters of oil will have double hulls around their fuel tanks to prevent the disastrous consequences of accidents such as the Costco Busan which Chairman Cummings went out to hold a hearing on in San Francisco Bay following the collision with the Bay Bridge and release of 53,000 gallons of heavy fuel. Ballast water treatment. We have the first enforcement program since invasive species were identified as a major problem in the Great Lakes in the 1970s. We require ships to install ballast water treatment systems in 2009 to control invasive species into U.S. ports, waterways, of course, and the inland waterways of the Great Lakes. We established a standard adopted by the International Maritime Organization from 2009 to 12, but beginning in 2012, the standard will be increased to 100 times greater than the IMO based on a best available technology. There are 8 provisions dealing with port security that I will withhold comment on which Chairman Benny Thompson, for whom I'm very grateful for his participation in all of our committee work. I will also set aside for the moment the Coast Guard Deepwater Assets Procurement issue for Chairman Cummings to address, since that was a matter on which he devoted an enormous amount of time. We remove appearance of conflict by transferring administrative law judges from the Coast Guard to the National Transportation Safety Board, as we did years ago, bipartisan initiative in our committee for pilots. The venue for appeals to the commandant decision to suspend or revoke a mariner's license, such as a captain's license, for violation of marine safety laws or acts of professional incompetence, will now be heard by an NTSB administrative law judge, but retaining the Coast Guard authority to decide whether to seek a suspension or revocation of a mariner's license. In 2007, 2 former Coast Guard ALJs testified before the Subcommittee on Coast Guard and Maritime Transportation that they were pressured not to allow a mariner's discovery of information that could vindicate that mariner. I think one of our major contributions, perhaps in my mind the most significant apart from the Deepwater, which has already passed the House, is the establishment of new marine safety authority for and raising the quality of personnel and the authority for marine safety within the Coast Guard. Establish marine safety as a function of the Coast Guard. It's not now mentioned in their basic law, but we established marine safety as a Coast Guard function focused on actions necessary to protect life, property, and the environment at sea. Created an assistant commandant for marine safety, a chief of marine safety in each Coast Guard sector. Establish minimum qualifications for all marine safety personnel, requiring that those persons appointed to marine safety positions, safety inspectors, casualty inspectors, a chief of marine safety, be technically qualified for those positions, that they should have at least the qualifications that the American Bureau of Shipping has and better than those. We establish a limited duty officer program in marine safety to allow commanders or chief warrant officers who have extensive marine safety experience to have the opportunity to specialize in marine safety. We require that appeals and waivers of marine safety laws and regulations be handled by qualified marine inspectors. Those marine safety regulations now are handled by a chain of command in the Coast Guard, and that means appeal can be decided by a ship driver, a helicopter pilot who has no qualifications in the specific issue at hand. We need to raise the qualifications, the skills of those personnel in key positions in the Coast Guard. This bill does that. And we also require establishment of and funding for a course in marine safety as part of the curriculum at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. I was there in New London at the Coast Guard Academy on Friday, and the commandant of the Academy and the commandant of cadets both were thrilled with this idea, as were cadets with whom I visited. And final attention I want to call to the strengthening of marine pollution prevention provisions in the Act. I'll leave those details till later, and now I reserve the balance of my time.